Okay. Um, okay. Hi everyone, and good morning. Is it good morning? Is it good day now? I don't even know, sir. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Like I always say, right? Let me just jump to it. So navigation, right, and routing. Okay, navigation and routing in Flutter, right? So earlier we do navigation 1.0 or navigator 1.0, whatever you call it, right? And we do, and we did things like um, navigator of context, push, pop, push replacements, right? Pop until, push replacement named, push and remove until, things like that, right? And really, really, easy API, very easy to use. For we on mobile, right? We don't really care about URLs like that, right? If people on the web that will have www slash some domain name.com slash whatever query, right? Some query parameter, some path parameter, and whatever that is there. That's right. But then for us on mobile, we just wanted to, push screens and pop screens, push view and pop particular view. Straightforward, nothing deep, right? But then our beloved framework Flutter, right? You know, it's multi-platform, right? It has a lot of targets, and web is one of them. So we have to support web kind of routing, right? We have to support web kind of behavior, right? For example, the web by default is deep linked. Like you can have a URL like um, www some website.com slash products slash some product ID, right? So you expect that that URL takes you to that exact product with that ID, right? Like that's how the web works. I have to support all this. So okay, they give us Navigator 2.0. I told us, hey, this API is better than Navigation 1.0. Um, pretty declarative, right? Meaning you're allowed to manipulate things on your own. You can remove, you can insert pages and the likes. But then Navigator 2.0 came with a new set of APIs, right? They introduced the Pages API, and a couple of things actually that they introduced, right? And then people say, oh, it came with a whole lot of learning curve. I mean, you have to understand things like what pages routes, um, router delegates, route information passer, route information provider, and a whole lot of jargon. And it becomes hard to use. And the community came out with different kind of solutions, navigation packages. Think Go Router, think Auto Route, Route Master, whatever you use really, right? And what? Yeah. So is 2.0 actually that complicated? I don't know, right? I feel like people need to understand how 2.0 like works internally, right? To a large extent. So let's see. Let's go to yeah. So let's go to our beloved. Yeah. So I'm trying to pull up the Go docs. I think we call them Go docs, right? Basically, publicly shared documents of what the router API is meant to be like. All right, so let's see. Um, mm, mm, mm. Trying to pull it out. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is the Go docs, right? So they call it the Go docs definitely. Um, Flutter Router API, right? So we say it introduces a declarative API to set history stack of the navigator and the router widget to configure the router based on app states and system events. Summary: they've given us a router that we can, configure based on app states, right? A big state that is not somewhere in your application, right? So which is fine, right? It has some goals. The goals is that navigator history stack can be set and modified iteratively by developers. Cool. That's one. The navigator imperative APIs continues to work and both APIs can be used together in the same app. Brilliant. I love that. The way the navigator transitions a declaratively provided history stack to a newly provided one can be customized. Fair. A router widget is available that wraps the navigator and reconfigures its history stack based on system events and app states, supporting the following. A router can configure the navigator, blah blah blah. A router can configure the navigator with a new intent. A developer can instruct the router to reconfigure the history stack and whatnot. Brilliant APIs, right? So too much English and story. Let's just jump to the code, right, and see what they mean by navigator history stack be able to be set and modified declaratively by developers. So let's jump to code. I mean, let's jump to code. Right. So I have a bunch of code that I've written here. I will just wipe them off and act like they don't exist. Sad, tough life, but yes. Delete and delete and delete. Right. So, mm, you know, just some deleting and whatnot. Anyway, yes. So let's go. Let's start. Right. A very simple Flutter app. Right. Run app. We set mm, don't let me do this here yet. Yeah, a very simple Flutter app. Right. So this is Navigator itself. Nothing deep or out of the ordinary. Right. So this navigator itself, and then we are going to define two different screens: a product list view, product listing screen, and a product details screen. All right. So product listing and product detail. A moment, what's going on here? All right. So let's make a very simple code. Very simple. So we have um, very simple. Yeah. So no magic code, right? If I let's start it from scratch. So basically, we need the Navigator APIs, right? The Navigator API itself, right? So the Go doc says Navigator history stack can be set, right, and modified declaratively by developers. This is Navigator API itself. Navigator API brought in a new API called Pages API, right? So every screen or whatever view you have in the app, they are like pages, right? So you define a list of pages here. In this case, pages a material page whose child is product listing view, right? So mm, All right. So, yep. Let me just find the emulator somewhere. So yes, we find nothing, out of nothing extraordinary here. No magic code, unfortunately, or fortunately also at the same time. Let's see. All right, so we define a page that just shows a list of products. So what we've done here is just a list view builder of 30 items, not of the ordinary, right? Now, from this, we want to like view the product view. Ideally, if you're using navigation in Navigator 1.0 or imperative APIs, would have done something like on tap, right, to navigator dot of context dot push, right. We just push to product view, and product index would be just pass the index here. I mean, this is what we would have done, right? Oh, no. Or close. Let's push a material page route with a builder that, yes. So this is what we would have done, right? I mean, basically, or you're going to do a push named, or you are going to use your navigation key to do the pushing or whatever, right? This is what everybody will have done. So let's run this. Right, so this, I mean, Navigator 1.0, right? Our imperative guy, our imperative friend, right? Okay. Let's just see the outputs. There's no magic happening here. There is no So, like I said, Navigator 2.0 added a couple of new stuffs, right? I said the Pages API came in, one. According to the Go docs, they want us to be able to manipulate the history as we want, right? I mean, it says history stack can be set and modified effectively by developers, and it's going to be compatible with the imperative APIs. So we can still do our push, pop, replace, and whatnot, and we can use the new set of APIs. No problem, right? I mean, this push whatever is our imperative guy, and yes, I'll show you where the work of the pages and how things differ and how it ties up in the long run. And why it is slow? Yeah, I'll also be sharing this Good Docs eventually, and a couple of GitHub issues, right? And maybe documentation basically. So this doc documented the breaking chain between the router and navigator API, right? So things where pop became can pop, no, where they introduced can pop, right? So return a boolean and whatnot. The design doc for the router API and a whole lot of you know a lot of stuff. But this, yeah, this the same Go doc that we'll be reading, I believe. Yeah, it's the same Go doc. The same Go doc. Please now run. Now we're begging the code to run. I don't want to go further and start showing and show magic, right? Before we get lost. Oh, beautiful. Took 97 seconds to compile. Ah, it's sad. Can you like just launch, please? For some reason, our project I decided it's not going to run, and who knows why. Either way, um, don't tell me our emulator has frozen. Please give me a moment. Anyway, back, and it seems like the emulator is frozen for some reason. I don't know. I just know. Um, not sure again. I think at this point I prefer to like kill the emulator totally and start again. Anyway, let's proceed. While the emulator tries to come back on. Um, yes. So, but typically, right, this is how we like navigate from our product listing, right, to our product details, right? Yeah. Um, with the pages, we could also manipulate the pages API to do some holy stuff. Let me say on holy stuff now. To do some very nice stuff. Um, I think like our administrator is responding now. Now, what kind of stuff? Now, right? This is the way we do it with 1.0 or our imperative APIs. Of our declarative APIs, it's pretty different. So, let's take this out. That's number one. Or let me just comment it out. Take that out. That's one. We register the product details view, right, as a page also. However, it takes in what some arguments, which is the product index or its rated product index, right? So in that case, we need to pass it here. So I could we define a variable called selected product or somewhere here, and then we pass it here, right? However, we've said to pass it as not null, but it is nullable because the user um, might have not selected the product at this point. So a simple check. If the product is not null, right? When it's not null, we want to route to this screen. We want to register that page also. So we just, yeah. Okay, so that's that, right? However, at this point, how do we set selected products, right? um, we could, on one hand, we could pass a callback inside this product listing view to set the selected products, right? So very simple function. um, a very simple function I will call on products selected, right? So on product selected, as a function name, then we pass it in here, this dot on product selected. What else? Yes, that's it basically, right? So on product selected, what do we want to happen? We really want to set the selected products, right? So on product selected, what do you want to do? You want to set the selected product, right? For the selected index. So typically you should return the index in this callback. So it should be something like this, equals to the index. And then here we set the index, right? An integer, and then we can do dot call, I think this should be it, right? And we pass in the index. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's it, right? Yes. So we're ready to that page now. Product listing, and created the product listing itself and the product details view. Let me see if we can get this to run on Chrome. All we do is whenever you select a product from the listing, we just set the state of the selected index to whatever the selected index is, and we pass it to this guy, right? So simple mental flow of code, right? We create a navigator with these two pages, right? However, once we enter this list of pages, we have a material page here, all right, that shows the product listing, right? And we're moving, right? However, if there's exists a selected product, we want to move into the product view and show the selected products, right? Yeah. So similarly, with n number of screens, right, you can show those guys conditionally based on some abstract condition or whatever the case may be. All right, so here we are. All right, so let's take it back a bit to navigation 1.0 so that we follow. Are we there? Are we there? Are we there yet? Are we there? Okay, we are there. Right, so this is navigation 1.0, right? This 1.0, nothing is happening. Show the listing screen, you tap one, open the product view, right? So that product details view, go back. You press 15, product details, right? Press 19, product details. Product 0, product details. Now, one thing you will notice is that the URL did not change, right? That's like one of the problems with navigation 1.0, right? Uh, you need to support multiple platforms, you need to support the web, you need to support how routing works on the web, right? With 1.0, it was kind of tricky, and hence the 2.0, right? But this is how we navigate with 1.0, right? If you're on mobile data, it works. Web data, it works. You push, we push, and we move. However, let's go back to the new Navigator pages. With this new format, right? With this new format, notice that what we've done here is call a particular callback and pass the index there. And what we've done here is just set the state, right? So if we select a product here, right, exactly, product 2, we go back, product. Why can't we go back? Yeah. So now we've tapped the back button and we can't go back. Why can't we go back? Navigator API also included an API called on pop page, which is routes and results, right? So the reason why we would not navigate backward is because we were here to implement the on pop page, right? So we could return. Is it true now? Return anything you feel like returning at this point, right? So if we return true, we save, we come back, press 0, and we still can go back. Yeah. So what we want to do is return routes dot did pop the page, did pop the results, right? So if we do that, yeah, so we can move back now. Very simple, straightforward, right? Like that how Navigator API works. We can go back and you see the back, yeah. So page 7 we are back, page 9 we are back, right? But let me show one trick. Now this page 7, now we are back. Let's do not hot reload, just hot, yeah, hot reload, not hot restart, hot reload now. Let's check again. Oh, okay, we are fine, we're fine. So right, page 4 back, that works, that works. If we do a hot reload, okay, so that's like Navigator itself. We use this guide to do whatever we feel like doing, right? And typically when we are popping, let me just show you something. If we try to print the value of the selected product, right? So that is selected products. So if you select one and we pop, right? You can see it's the one, that's it, and then you pop, it's 5. So I was trying to show something, but unfortunately, Flutter does not have auto reload, so I think I might have to like switch back to running on mobile. I can show you via as a plot twist, right? Okay, seems like I'm just responding now. Hopefully. Yeah, there is a plot twist there. I don't know if you can see the plot twist. Plot twist is this. We navigated inwards and we set the selected products, but when we popped we moved backward, right? Our selected products, we did not clear it. That's where the plot twist is. So meaning for whatever reason, if our page decides to reload, maybe by virtue of a change notifier notifying its listeners or a set state call somewhere, we are going to run into problems. And what problem is that our previous screen will come back into view like we never left it. So it's a plot twist, but let's see. Hopefully our method does not focus up this time. It does not look like it will. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right. All right. All right. Yes. So let me show us. Yeah. So right, this is our product listing screen, right? Now we've gone inside product 4. We can back product 10. We can back. Now say we are this product 2, right? We've popped, right? Then what reload. Tada! Back in product 2 like we never left. So this is so this is a problem. Similarly, if we maybe enter into product 20, product 19, and we pop, right, and we do a hot reload, we are back in 19 like we never left. Why? Because we still have states that has not been cleared, right? So by default, so we say you say the fix is to just set the selected products to be null, right? And that should be fine. That should keep everybody happy, right? So let's how to start. So product 9, pop, product 3, pop, hot reload. Yes. So we are fine now, right? Everything is cleared, simple. The word is safe again. However, right, when you have lots of pages in the navigator, this is not the best way to go because you're still going to have you might have other pages that are rendered based on different conditions, right? And so what's the effective way? Well, you need to uniquely identify these pages. Every page, right, has to be identified in some kind of way, right? The way we identify widgets here is by keys, right? We can assign key to widgets. So similarly, we can assign key to these pages. So ideally, right, to assign a key to this page, I could define some key somewhere. Oh, I already did a static constant value key, product value key, and I could like assign it to the page here, right? Product view value key, right? So in that way, this page, all pages, every page, you could assign keys to every page in that manner. And the way I would ideally want to pop, right, is that I want to get the current page. And how do you get the current page? Let me clear it out. I will do final page route dot settings as material page. Since I'm doing the material page, right? And if the keys are the same, if page dot key is if the key is the product value key, I want to clear the selected product, right? So the selected product at this point would be null, right? So yeah, like that's how it works, right? Under the hood, if you check whatever navigation package you are using, you might see things like this where some certain keys are being compared to do certain manipulation and the likes. But in this case, case we have here, we check if the current page key is the same thing as the product value key, if it's the same product value key, we just clear the state of the selected products and we are fine, right? So enter here, clear, and yes, so right, you have multiple pages in your navigator. Like that's the best way to go about it, right? Very simple. Now going forward, when you are building your production level product apps, right, your product, you are not going to, I don't know, like apps generally have a lot of pages, right? I'm expecting that you would have some crazy number of pages, and you're not going to like define every site navigator here, right? I mean, that's the point, right? And then enters, we have enters every other thing that we have. Let's be the router API itself, right? And yeah, so let's move forward a bit, right? And let's see what the router itself is all about. It said a router widget is available that wraps the navigator and reconfigures its history stack based on system events and app states, supporting the following. The router can configure the navigator to show the initial routes, right? Router can configure the navigator when a new so can reconfigure the navigator when a new intent arrives, can reconfigure when the user hits the system back button, and you can instruct the router to reconfigure based on whatever, right? And then there's some background and motivation and whatnot. And yes, so let's look at the router itself. So the router is a new widget that is a dispatcher just to open and close pages of an application, right? Very simple. It wraps a navigator and configures its current list of pages based on the current states, right? Then some, some theoretical jargon and whatnot. So this is the idea of the router, right? This is the idea of how your app works. You have my app, which is like the root of the application. You have a router up there. Don't forget the router contains the navigator, and you are going to register. Inside the navigator, there are a lot of pages registered there, right? Now, as a user, the user clicks the top this route. It's called a topmost route, right? The user is on that route, and the user clicks a button on that route. So, item one, this button is tapped by the user, right? This tab is going to modify the app state, right? The app state is meant to notify the router, and then the router rebuilds itself to show you the new route. Like that's basically the way it's meant to work. Right? That's the whole idea. The behavior of how the route the behavior of how the router learns about changes in the app state and how it responds to them is determined by the router delegates. Every router you have out there, every package, I don't know, Go Router, Route Master, and whatnot, they all have a router delegate somewhere, right? So new API is coming. Router delegates one, route name provider, route name passer, no, route information provider, route information passer, the back button dispatcher, new set of APIs, right? Now, whenever you are building a router or you are trying to use the router API, you have to custom implement the delegates. Why? Because how the router is going to know when to respond to changes in your app state is configured inside the delegate itself. The router can help developers in listening for whatever event, blah 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 blah, and whatever story, which we'll read later. So this is how it works. An operating, you have the OS or of the device. You have a route name provider or route information provider, route information passer, the router delegate, and the router itself, and then app states. Right. The router obtains newly configured navigator for rebuild. Right. The delegate modifies based on its notifications with the app states. The app states request engines to navigator, the whole rebuild happens to the router, and then the router now provides the newly configured um, navigator and whatnot, and all that jargons, which is plenty story, really, literally, right? So, how do you work with the router API, right? At the very basic level, there are, I mean, there are certain things that are important, right? We have this whole new set of APIs, back button dispatcher, router delegates, route name passer, route information provider, the router itself, and whatnot. At the very basic level, the most important thing, right, is the delegate, because the delegate is what, right, like I said, like we mentioned earlier, it's what basically the configuration of how the router is going to rebuild is held in the delegates. So yeah, so that's what delegate is, right? Then you have the route information passer. You need to pass the route information, right? I mean, if you're going to suppose URLs like this, where you have query parameters and the like, or path parameters, I mean, you need to be able to get the route information. You need to be able to pop a route, set initial routes, right? Set the new routes. Everything is done inside the router delegate itself, right? That's what the router delegate. Then the back button dispatcher just inform the router that this user has tapped the device or the system back button. And let's go back to the previous route. Android devices that have back button, right? The browsers that have back button, you know, iPhone does have back button. So Yeah, that's what the back button dispatcher is for. So if you are going to work with the router API without packages, the most important thing, the route delegate, right? And yeah, the route delegates are the very first thing, right? And then maybe the route information passer and the like. This is a simple route delegate that they defined for us. I think it was like the specs of everything. So the route delegates, it has the navigation key, a way to set the new routes, a way to build the navigator itself with the navigator key, how to handle popping of pages, and then those pages, and then to register pages, right? Which I showed earlier in the pages API of Navigator itself, and a couple of things here and there. So let's move to what is important. Let's move to what is important. So um, if you're going to integrate a router, how do we do it? Yeah, so first things first, right? If you are going to leverage or integrate this Navigator 2.0, URL based navigation and complex navigation scheme and whatnot, right? The very first thing is you need to have a router delegate, right? That's the most important thing, really, right? The delegate itself, that's delegate. And how do we create the delegate? Let's our spec again. Okay, so let me just, hopefully this is correct. I don't know if it's correct, but let's see if it's correct. Um, okay, after delegate, and it says I have 5 missing overrides. So let me say sample route delegates, sample router delegates, right? Router delegate list of, hmm, not really, not really, not really, not really, but yes. Extend the route delegate itself with the pop navigator router delegate mixing, and I want it to be a listenable, right? So that I can respond, I can notify listeners and update change and whatever. So this is like how router delegate is, right? Um, do we need this? Nothing to change this notifier exactly. We don't need it anymore. So we need to configure how to like build our router or the delegates, set the navigation key, and then we think we need to remove this now. We don't need it. So again, it's not a chain notifier, right? I will tell you the way to set new route paths. So typically, I would just set this to be global key, right, of navigator state, right? So that's like, or I could just define a very simple local variable set for it. Key equals to this, and then the getter should point to key itself, right? So that's navigation key. Um, the build method typically, like I said, we are building the navigator, right? So okay, that's this navigator itself. Then the key, we could set the key as navigator key, right? Then of course the pages, important list of pages that I want to set, and the other thing will be the on pop page, right? So on the pop page, let me just return true for now. And what else? We need to set new route paths. Alright, so in that case, let's hold the paths here, right? We hold the paths somewhere here. Um, and then when you try to set the new route path, I'm basically just going to set the value of that path, right? I want us to collect new paths in here, not some list of route settings, right? So that I know that this would be, yes, literally, right? It says the body might cause it not to be returned. What's going on? It says the body might complete normally, but the future blah 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 blah. Blah. This is not a valid override of function list of route settings. Oh, list of route settings up here. Okay, yes, that's one. Then all right. So that's that. We could set the default paths to be. I mean, default paths should be set to this, and then here in pages, all we just have to do here is no, define pages. You could just, I could just define, move this there. You know, I really define pages. Um, mm, Coming. So we define one page, right? And since we say it is path-based navigation or whatever, right? Ideally, what it should look like is if if the path is the roots, for example, if the path is roots, is equals to the roots, right? So do this. It could be some big switch. It could be some deep or big switch statements or whatever the case may be. Else, if path is equals to, I don't know, maybe flash products or some arbitrary paths, we want to return. We want to return. Right. Right. Yeah, but we are going somewhere deeper than this, right? So this is how a simple route delegate looks like. And what's the part does not match the name configuration in. Okay, if that's the case, configuration. Let's make you happy, right? So this is how you define a simple router delegate, right? Um, this is like what typically should be inside the router delegate. There's no other gymnastic there, literally. Um, that's it. What is the route? The other thing, right? I said is the route information parser. That's the second important thing. Route info parser, right? What we are doing is a simple class that extends that extends the route information parser itself string because we're dealing with paths here, right? So this is a simple route information parser. What method does it have? How to pass the route information, right? And how to restore the route information. So let's go pass route information and restore route information. All right. This is simple info parser, right? Let's even see what the doc says about the info parser itself. This anything. They call it route name parser here. It said it gets the current route from the name provider and turn it into a data of type C. That data is used by the delegate to configure the navigator to show the appropriate routes. The default name parser will pass the provided string into a list of settings, where each element of the list represents a page that can be pushed to the navigator. The default delegate assumes that route strings have the following shape, which is correct. I mean, this is how URLs look like, query parameters, this, and whatever it is. The string will be passed into route settings for the routes, right? Slash FOO and FOO bar, and each settings will have an argument of ID, which makes sense, and name, right? But anyway, um, the most important thing here is the parser gets the current route from the provider and turn it to data of type C, right? So in our one case, type C is a string. So how do we go about it? The route inform what do we have in the route information? We can get from the route info, we have the URI itself and the location and state and whatnot. So in that case, we could say the URI is the route info that comes in, right? Dot is it dot URI now? Yes, dot URI. Alright, that's that. So if there are no path segments, by path segments we mean like there's no slash full slash bar because these are segments. Like I said, there we segmented into the roots slash FOO and slash FOO slash bar, right? So if there are no segments, in that's like the roots, right? So if URI dot path segments is empty, right? That's the roots basically. Async that's the root, right? Cases here is not empty, just return me, I don't know, maybe return me the URI dot the first part segment, and then what do you want to return here? Route information. What does it take in? It takes in the string location. Alright, so location this. So we just return that. Which is not deprecated. They should use URI.pass. Meaning is there URI here? Meaning URI.pass. Right, so that's like the information parser also. Similarly, there's nothing deep there. So if we are going to use this parser and the delegates, the way we are going to use them is we go into our main app, we change this material app to the router equivalent, right? We don't have home anymore in the router. What we have now is the information parser, I think, and the delegates. You could also use the route config objects. I think some routing packages do that. One prime example is Go. I think Go router uses the config object, right? So for us to do this, we could just define route delegate to be this simple route delegate now. Okay, let me just simple route delegates. Don't ask me why I'm defining this here, please. Right, and the second one would be route info parser, which is basically the same simple route information parser, right? And then we pass it here, and then we pass it. Parser and delegate. One is for the config, right? So right? So you see nothing. We've done with our life, right? Like that's how that guy typically operates, right? So let's go a bit deeper, and cook a new router this time. Now, if we're going to like cook a new router, right? If you're going to cook a new router, what are the important things? Delegates. Let's not forget delegates and the password are the most important things, right? Even the route config is still going to have the delegates. You can't like do without them. Um, but anyway, let's go. Let's go a bit deeper, right? So if you're going to create, I don't know, a full blown router. Let's say we want to recreate Go router now in our own image and likeness, right? A couple of things to consider. Let's see. A couple of things to consider, right? We are going to implement one, our route delegates. Let me increase this, right? The route delegate, right? The route info parser, right? And we need to hold configurations, right? We need to hold configuration, which are basically route definition. So let's call it route configuration. We'll define that ourselves. What else again do we need? What else again do we need? That's basically it, right? So how do we hold the configuration? Ideally, we want to hold the route paths, right? For the route configuration, you want to hold the route paths, right? And return a widget, right? So some kind of builder. So very simple. Okay, let's go back to code. Let me create a navigation folder. Let's put this guy in here. Right, and let's move this guy also in here. And yeah, route config. Right. So I said we want to hold the route path and some builder, right? So we define a very simple class called routes config that hold the paths and has some builder, right, to return. So we can return a widget at that point. What do we need? Imports. So that would be the route config. So it's required and the other thing would be let's build right. So nothing deep again. A very simple class, right? Don't forget it. Yes, we've broken the app, I know. But a very simple route configuration, right? Hold the path, and this builder is just to return the view. That. The second thing would be the delegates, right? So let's come back and really focus on our delegates now, right? So since it's a router, we're going to have a lot of routes, a lot of pages. So let's change this guy to current. Let's call this guy current paths, so that we don't, easy for us to know what it is. Then some list of routes configuration, since it's a list of routes. In a list of routes, we can't hold the string. We should not do the string. Import the route config. Right. Right. Yes. So what else? What else? It's not a type as well. Don't worry, we'll attend to you later. Simple route delegates. Yes, let them pass the routes to the delegates. This dot routes, right? So they pass the routes to the delegates, and what else? What else? Um, all final variables must be initialized, but route isn't. Okay. What else again? Coming. What again do we miss? What's again the router? Set initial paths, restored paths, new paths, pop routes, build. How about the configuration? Do we have something like that? Moment. Yeah, current configuration. The current configuration is the current route, which is the current path. Alright. Good, good. And this would be question mark? Yes, it's not label. I mean, right. So we're making progress bit by bit. So we have this our key here, a list of routes, the correct configuration, the current paths. Now, when we are defining our navigator, how do we want to define it? Um, how do we want to define navigator now? Okay, you have a couple of things we can do. We can inside this build method. Let me see. We don't need this now. This was for the sample that we're working with earlier. Take them out, right? So this time what we are going to do is we are going to, okay, this fine. Remove this out. What against crying? Don't worry, you will cry. All right, so at this point, let's so we want to match our list of routes, right? I mean, we have a list of routes now. So how exactly are we going to like build our navigator with the list of routes? That's like the next question. Um, whenever users how does the navigation work again? When you're on the web, you have a particular URL, right? And that URL technically does not exist. That's like a 404, right? Yes, that's like a 404. So it's not found. So in that case, what would we have done? What would we have done? What would we have done? Think. I don't know what we would have done. Okay. We can return some view that tells us, hey, this thing is not found or something. All right. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Let's even look at. Let's come back into our drawing board. Right. We could just. Um, comment. Do I have comments? No. Anyway, what we could do is question is how to properly um, match the routes and return the router. Anyway, we could do something like uh, um, tricky business. Anyway, let's see. But let's just move back. Still the same process, right? But but yeah. How do we define the pages? Yeah, that's where we were. How do we define the pages? We did a couple of ways, right? What I would rather do is, let me see the actual doc um on the router and pages API again. No. Yeah, on the navigator itself. Um, Convert the stack of pages into a stack of routes. A change in pages will trigger an update to route. The navigator will update its route to match the configuration, blah blah blah. You can create a page class and define a list of pages in a on-pop page callback, some default translation delegates, and whatnot. Okay, so if I'm going to match this guy, right? If I'm going to match this guy, I could do mm, 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 mm. The question is to find the matching routes. Okay, let's see. Let me first write a simple method to find matching routes or routes that exist. Let me put it that way. Is that the way to put it? Right. And then taking the list of routes, config routes, then say we look through the routes, right? And let's not forget we are matching the core a path by those routes. And we say if route dot so we can't even how do we not match it? Okay, we have to define some matching process on the configuration in that case. Yes, that's like the only way we can go about it, right? So to check if yeah, let me return false for now. So back to the delegates, right? So what we're doing here is if a route has match with the current with this part, then we are going to if has match then we return route. I mean let's see what's wrong. Return routes. Right. Let's see. So we say if for routing route, if route has match, just return routes, right? That's how we find the matching routes. Okay, fair. Excuse me. Then this is returning route, which is type route config. Let's put it there. I don't forget. Yeah, so don't forget. It says it might casually blah blah blah. Let's make it not label now. Then else return null in other cases, right? So that's that one. If it does not match anything, we want to return a 404. So how do we build this guy exactly? Okay, we could just do build page, right, and say final matching route equals to, we find the matching route, take the path, right, so usually we take routes and paths, right? So if the matching route is null, like there's no matching route, so that's the 404. Yeah, so return a page, a material page. Just a scaffold should do it actually. Body, center, some text, right, that says 404, the part not found, right? So you know, yeah, like that's how we're going to build this guy. So cases where, that's if the matching route is null, right? Else when the matching route exists, you just want to return a material page now. So similarly, when it exists, just return me a material page with aha, yeah. So every route has its own builder, right? Good. If every route has its own builder, at the same time how you build the widgets, just do route dots. It's not the route, it's the matching route. Because at this point, we've matched the routes. The matching route builder and the context now. What do they take? Why is this thing it as okay? So if it needs context, we could as well just pass the build context here, right? And then don't forget, I said you have to uniquely identify the pages with some key. Alright, so we have a value key, and yes, let's just use the paths. Yes, that I mean every path is so I think that was fine. So that's for build page, and we're returning a material page, right? We are civilized there, so we define types. We are civilized there. So I could just do this, passing the context and wait, yes, passing context and maybe the current parts. Comment. All right. Oh, I don't know what this is from. Yeah. So yeah, where the current part, it's null, that would be our default part. So this like one way. So this way we've built out our router. This I don't have like individual widget or screens here, and that's because I said our route config should hold the paths and tell us how to build that route with whatever widgets they were returning there. So it makes sense to follow the pattern like that, right? All right. We're making progress. We're making progress. So set new route path. Similarly, we're basically just doing current path equals to the configuration, right? And we are notifying listeners, right? Why is it crying for this? I don't know. Why are you crying? Insert it now. Stop crying. Why is it crying about? Anyway, that's how we do that. Then maybe we just want for us to mimic simple navigation, right? Navigate to be passing the path there, which set the current path for us, and then we notify listeners. Yeah, so this is very simple route delegate, right? A very, very simple route delegate. Um, yes, then the route information parser, what again is there? We said, okay, that's fine. That is empty, just default it, else return this. Another way, or another thing we could do is, we add the URI up there, so we could just return the URI like that. It's not a biggie, right? Yeah. So what next? Yeah. So let's go back. I think we could just return the URI like that. So that'll be return this URI completely. So when I return the URI, it means we might have to. It depends on how I want to go about it. We can decide to make this a URI, right? Meaning this guy becomes a URI, right? And what we're returning here would this guy too become a URI, right? Because it's of type C to this guy, and configuration is already a URI automatically, so there's no need. It literally depends on how you want to handle it, string or URI. Just have to follow. Okay. Yeah. Let's proceed. So let us undo some screens. Right. Let it wipe off these guys. So let's undo some screens. Let's say home screen, and make it a scaffold, body, center, child, text, home, right? And let's define home, and maybe I'll say about screen, whatever I name it. I don't know, view screen, whatever. So yeah, home screen and about screen. So how do we use them? So we define a router delegate, right? That has okay, route is required, right? So let's define the routes. Our route now is list of routes config. So for the parts, the home screen, let me get this part for example, and the builder, like I said, the builder will just tell us how to return or build the guy, which should be this for the home screen. Similarly, for the about, you get to have about screen. Let's define these guys properly. What else? What else? Okay. And what are I missing? Yeah, we're almost there. So where is this guy coming from? All right. So 404 slash not found, right? Which is basically from here. So let's even be sure safe. Let's even be sure. Right. So we have two routes, slash and slash about. So why are you telling us that it does not they don't match? Let's proceed. So this guy. So part, this part. So has match. Oh, we did not. We said has match is false. We did not implement the has match um of our route config. Hence that problem. Okay, so how do we match? It's tricky, but let's proceed. We'll move on. So how do we match um, routes? Let's go back to the plain sheet. A URI can be the format HTTPS, maybe github.com, right? Right, like this is a simple URI, right? Okay, that's one. We are matching the path with the current route. So let's convert them to URI first. So the route itself would URI would be URI dot pass this dot path, right? That will give you the current URI of this route, right? Then the URI of the path that you are comparing against, and dot pass the path itself, right? So we want to compare these two things. So how do we compare them? These guys could have this guy could have multiple segments. It could also have things like I don't know, you know. So these are more segments. So first things first, two routes are the same if they have the same if the routes have the same segment number of segments, right? They're most likely going to be the same thing or they'll match each other, right? So you want to check that first. So if the route URI dot segments dot the path segment dot length, so if if they don't match themselves, right, you say it's false. It's false. They don't match. That's one. That's one case. So, but now that escape that, meaning after this particular piece of code, everything here would match. Everything here would be of the same length. Now, if they are of the same length, you want to check that the segments are equal to each other, right? Meaning segment I of the URI is equal to segment I of the route URI. So you just like loop through it for int I equals to 0. I is less than route URI dot path segment dot length, increment it I plus plus. You just get out of it, right? So in that case, I'm looping through, right? So the route segment would be the route URI dot path segment route URI dot path segment I and the final path segment, that's the path segment I want to compare against, right, will be URI dot path segment I, right? So we're comparing it segment for segment, segment for segment with the segments, right? Now, he said if the segments are the same, right? Meaning there must have been a catch, must have matched somewhere. However, it's possible that, I don't know, it's possible that, let me see our route, some route definition we have in this API doc. Okay, question mark and all this. Possible that, okay, we could have URIs that match maybe HTTPS, for example. Now github.com, this area 18, no, 18 without column. I don't know, we could have URI that match, yeah, so that's black column. You could also have URI that match this format, and we could have URI with path parameters, maybe like this products and 20. Yeah, so this is a path parameter, right? Path parameter, query parameter, just segments directly. So the way we represent path parameter, right? The path parameter notation is like this. This is the notation, right? And this is the notation for path parameter, and then you can pass the ID. If you are using Postman, for example, and try to test API, right, and you put it like this, you have to like provide this inside the parameter section, right? So that's the notation. So if the segment is a path parameter like this, we want to continue, all right? So like just continue with what you are doing. Yeah. So if the route segment starts with that, right? So we say just continue your work, please. Continue your work, yeah. Just like continue the loop, sort of, right? Good. However, if both segments are now equal to each other, right? Like I mean, if the segments I equals segment I of each of them, that means they're basically the same for that segment, and they don't match, return false. So if this route segment, right, is not equal to this part segment, what do we do at that point? Return false. Let me just keep it inside, so that it's easier. You have to read. Yes. So this and this. So since we've treated out the false case, this can now be true, right? Ta-da! You see. And now, as you notice, immediately I did hot reload, right? Our screen refreshed, and we could see that it's home. So that's that. And what happened? Oh, set initial path. What's wrong with set initial path? Where is set initial path? Alright, so let's define a way to set the initial path. I don't know why it's shouting, but let's do that. Oh, I think we have the configuration already, right? Yes, we have the configuration, we have the current path. Okay. I'm not sure why set initial path is shouting. Why is it shouting? Let's see. Set initial path returns of T, and that's router delegate of string. Okay. Oh, I see why now. We switch the information. Like I said, if you are switching the info from string to URI, make sure you follow all through. I think that's where the problem came from. So we switched to URI and we did not change the corresponding wherever really. So that should be this. Configuration should be a nullable URI also current path. Why is that? I mean current configuration is a valid override of router delegate this. It takes in okay. Now this weird. Well hold on. That's weird. Right, yes. Okay, set new path. So let's correct set new path also to use URI. Navigate to so this navigates to basically you to set this to URI. URI does pass the path itself. Right. Yes. What else? Then this would be this build page. We'll have to also correct it to match current path dot path like this, right? I believe. Okay, yeah, we're fine. So how do we navigate? Let's add the simple button here, right? Elevated button. It's someone pressed some text, right? Say go to about. So delegate dot navigate to okay go to about. What do we do anyway? Let's move this out. It's not like it has to be here by force. Yep. So route delegate route information passer and route delegate. Right, so that's it. Dot navigate to about move this const. Right. So if we restart this guy, I'll be sure it's not broken anything. So if you say let's go to about, yeah, that's about. Everybody's happy, right? That's about. Yeah, that's about. So what's really happening is when this navigates to just basically set the new current path, right, to this URI and you notify the listeners. You see, everybody's happy. It's working and everybody's happy, right? But if you look at it, there are a couple of say issues or plot twists here and there, right? What do you want to say? Let's try a deep link pattern first. I already set up this app for deep link earlier when I was creating this, so I could just fire from here. So if I do about, oh, that's it. You see, it's responded accordingly. So if I just do com.example slash, it goes to home, com.example about, it goes to about, right? I've not, yeah. So it's fine. It will be fine. We are good. What if we do about maybe question mark id equals to 2? what happens? It says no match is found, right? Or if we do slash about slash 29, yeah, actually, page not found, right? Because that's a 404, that page does not exist. But if you look at it, what we've actually done is we've passed a pass parameter, right? So how do we handle those? Everything we've been doing, just we did not handle pass parameter anywhere. So it's similarly, it's straightforward also. It's not that deep, I promise. It's not that deep, right? So for us to handle pass parameter, we are going to edit the route config. Remember in the route config, we held the paths there, right? We had the path and what else? And the builder to tell it how to return this layer screen. So if we are going to handle query parameters and path parameters, right? Our best place to implement those is back inside the route config. And let's not forget the query parameters and path parameters are part of the URL. Oftentimes we need the query parameters and the path parameters when we are trying to define how the widget should be returned, or when you're trying to pass argument to the widget. So this widget builder typically could become a widget function, right? Of course, widgets, it needs the build context, right? And query and pass parameters, right? So if I go to do, so that would be string like this and string, right? Yes. Yep. So this is it. So this this how we handle path parameters. Similarly, if you are going to like handle query parameter also, the same thing too. Map of string and string, right? Yes. So that's one. That's one part to it. Of course, definitely we have to query params, or since if you're not using it, it's not being used, right? It's not being used. That's that. Then we need to match the URLs correctly this time. So we need to update our has match method. Let's add another method to extract the parameters correctly. Map of string, right? Extract the parameters, right? So in the end, let's just return map like that. So the work of this guy is just to extract the parameters, right? So first thing, of course, you want to define both URIs, right? You want to define both URIs. Or he both said URI. Yeah, let's say maybe. Then of course you want to define the parameters that you will return, which is basically this, which is this. Of course, don't forget here you're going to return params. Alright, okay. So let's now start. How do we extract the parameter? It's straightforward. It's very similar to what we've done here. Like I said, when you see this dot dot, right, that's the notation, that dot pass parameter, right? So what I'm going to just do is, let me copy this bit of code that we have here. Alright, so if the segment, we need to check, no, let's just go to the segment. Loop through the route segment, right? Loop through the route segment. Then, yeah, if it starts with this, that means that we have a pass parameter somewhere, right? So we set the key of params to the route segment dot substring one, right? It equals to the path segment itself, and this guy is not needed. No, this is path segment. Sorry. Yes. Then we update this has match guy. After this guy, right? We said return false at this level. At this level, then we said loop through this. If it starts with if it starts with this, continue. If it is this, return here. And yeah, this is how we extract the parameters. Yes, this is how we extract the parameters. So after extracting the parameters, we have to update the router delegates to carry the to be aware typically of the parameters, right? So back to how we define delegates here. Yeah, this we are coming back to. So before we return this guy, you want to extract the parameters. So final parameters, right, would be the matching route dot extracted parameters, and what they pass to it, we pass the current path, right, which will be the current path dot the path now. Yes, okay. Now we said if it's not there, we set it to default like this, right? So that will give us the parameters that we need there, and then we can now pass it here, right? So that's how we do this guy. Now, similarly, now we've done that for that's pass parameter now. So what remains is query parameters. And let's continue. So for query parameter, we are also going to do similar process to extract the query parameter. So another function. Query parameter is very simple, literally. It's not that deep. I think it's even the easiest to do anyway. Right. So this, right, extract query param string parts, of course the URI itself, which is URI dot pass the paths that you pass to it, and then you just return does it yeah, exactly. So that's how to return query parameters. Like the URI itself already has a way to return query parameters. So that's that about that. You are done with extracting the query parameters, and then so extract query parameter, and typically that's it really. Right, exactly. So that's that. Query parameters done, pass parameters done. What else again? So let's test it out now. Right. Let's try it out. Yes. Let's try it out. How about we create a new route called search? Hear me out, hear me out. What I want to do is I want to create a route something like this. Search, and then we query it this way, right? So let's do that. Let's do that. So let's create a search screen, right? Let's widget search. Search screen. Let's go back and yeah, that's search screen. So ideally, the search is coming in the query part. Let's go and define this guy properly, right? By defining him, Oh, do we need to? No, let's leave it like that, please. So that means that we're saying that whenever someone searches for things like search question mark w equals to 8 this, we want this to come to the search screen, right? Okay, so let us continue. So we define a new route config for search, right? And let's take in the query parameters for that search. Final map of string, comma string, make it non-label, query params, right? And this would be this dot query parameter. So let's call it query params. So remove this guy out, this guy, query param, right? So yes, that defines search with some query parameter. Let me just put on that button. Yeah, wrap this with column. I think I should have to swap with. Oh, I can't swap. Interesting. Oh, anyway, let me just remove this guy. Let's add another button. Yeah, center it. Right. That would do go to search. Now if you look, just go to search here, just navigate to search without any query or pass parameters, right? So let me make this a scaffold, right? Make a scaffold, and the body should. Okay, let's return a column. Let's move this out. A column. A column where with children, where the first text just says search, and the second one is if the query parameter is not empty, right? If query parameter dot is not empty, if it's not empty, then do this text for me. Why is this? Alright, so we can make it required, required, and move this guy. So this will be text query would be query params dot the entries. So I want to display the key and the key and value here. So look through all the elements, and then we do element dot key. Yes, this key is equals to this value, right? And then we can now join. Yeah, we can now join everything by comma. Yeah, that makes sense. SE, that's H. Yes, so let us jump to search screen from here. SEARCH. Oh, it says for search not found. Ah, interesting. Okay. Question mark ID equals to 2. Let's see. Come in. How does query parameter again even work, safe? Let's even say it look like again, safe. Question mark variable equals some value and why is deep link now? Why is this deep link thing lying to us now? Could not find much for coming first. Anyway, since we have a bug with our search, right? It's telling us search not found. I think I have not restarted. Okay, now that we've restarted, let's see. Oh yes, no, that's search. That's search. We are fine. We are safe. So put it at the center again. Main axis alignment. Yeah, so that's how we got to search, right? So we are fine. We are safe. We are safe. So why can't it? Let me see. I don't know. Maybe it's terminal problem. I'm not even sure again. So for some reason our terminal is refusing to. I'm coming. Let me even see if I can try some random link https github.com/ I think for some reason it's not allowing this thing. So what is it saying? I think for some reason it's not. I don't know why it's not querying, but anyway, here's how to do it. That's how it should be done. Or let me even see if it would. I don't know if I try it from. Let me see. If I don't know if I use some other way to load it up. So work. Yeah, no spot here. No notes. I'm trying to see if I can, just copy the URL directly and try it on the browser. Okay, open this page in example. And we open it. Yeah, so that's how we got there. Um, so yeah, that's basically how to like add support for pass parameter and query parameters to um that's basically the like fundamentals of Navigator 2.0, right? How delegate and the information passer, right? You need to be able to hold route configuration, right? Route configuration can be in terms of URI or in string. I prefer keeping it in URI because from URI, I mean, you have path parameters, query parameter. I don't need the full string. I can only decode the full string from the URI. So now we've done support for, yeah, so we've been able to like move from screen 1 to screen 2. We've done support for query parameter as path parameters. We've seen how it works with deep links, right? Yeah, I think the next session, if I don't know, we might do more in-depth stuffs. I don't know, more tricky and technical things, and see how it works with the browser. So it's late here already. I'm sure everyone wants to go and rest. So it's fine. I'll see you some other time. Thank you for joining. Yeah, bye.